Good morning, Zimbabwe. Good afternoon or good evening. How are you? My name is Ngobani Zondo. Welcome again to my channel. We are still talking about Zimbabwe, how to get the country forward. A lot of people are told or are convinced that to get the country forward, we need a regime change, meaning that you need to remove the ZANU-PF people from power. You need to put Advocate Nelson Chamisa in power, and then the country will move forward. I would like to diverge from that point, from that understanding, and and suggest to you that what needs to change is not exactly the regime. What needs to change is the way in which the military and the Central Intelligence Organization thinks. The security sector that runs the politics of Zimbabwe. You see, their reality is that they are the ones who run the country, not ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF is just sort of like a surrogate for the military. I've been saying on my channel that the problem that the security sector made was to have only one political party representing them, and that party is ZANU-PF. They should have had a multi-party democracy, to understand, so that when there is a protest from the people because of those that are in the political leadership, the military would have an option of an opposition which the people would support. And if the people would support that opposition and the opposition wins the general elections, it really doesn't matter, because that opposition is also under the auspices of the security sector, just like ZANU-PF. As I've been saying, that taking a look at the example in the United States, where you have got the Democrats and the Republicans, I'm talking about covering the political spectrum from the far left, the middle, the right, and the far right. You have got these two political entities that cover the whole space. So it really doesn't matter who wins, because whichever party wins, whether it's the Democrats or it's the Republicans, the security apparatus of the United States government are in full command and control of the full spectrum. Therefore, that is why you do not have much of a contested elections in the United States. Here in Africa, Zimbabwe in particular, and many other African countries, we still have that same problem in which our democracy has not matured. Our people, as they should understand, because they're just civilians, they believe that democracy means that with a one man, one vote, and therefore the leader is chosen by the people. That is pure democracy. Well, to some extent, it is correct, even in the context of the United States. The people vote for the president who's going to be in power. But as I have said that before, in the United States, the reason why their democracy is secure is because the infrastructure of democracy is already so robust that it doesn't matter who comes into the political climate in the United States, they are all within the security sector of the Americans. To understand, the Pentagon in the United States works for all political parties, and all political parties subscribe to the doctrine of the Pentagon in the United States. Therefore, it doesn't matter that even if you have someone like Bernie Sanders, who is like a communist. America is a country that historically has been anti-communist, but then Bernie Sanders came in the Democratic ticket. He almost clinched the Democratic nomination, and two times it's been coming close. And I'm telling you, there wouldn't be a problem with Bernie Sanders becoming a president of America, even though he is like he is like an aberration from most of the political talk in America. You also get someone like Donald Trump as well, who is also who's anti-establishment, but he did become the president. You see, so in the Zimbabwean context, our problem is that we have concentrated power or expectation of the political. We have reserved the political that's political space to only one party, which is ZANU-PF, and which is one mindset, which is one thought. And when Robert Mugabe was alive, he made a huge disservice for the country. I like to say that the biggest huge disservice that Robert Mugabe did for the country, which is a disservice, was to make his mind the only mind that must be followed by everybody else, as if like nobody else can think. Not only did the military make a mistake of having ZANU-PF as the only avenue to express their own the political will, but even within ZANU-PF they had Robert Mugabe as the sole determiner of the direction of ZANU-PF and therefore the country. Even though we are saying that the security sector in Zimbabwe is the owners of the country, or the people that are really running the country, and that is okay. That is how things are. So my advice or my contribution to this argument is that for the security sector to heal Zimbabwe, understand, it is the security sector that is going to heal Zimbabwe, not politicians and not the people. Therefore, the advice to the security sector, and I feel like this is the will of God as well, is that they begin now to cultivate an environment where the political discussions can be both to the far left and to the far right, with more than one political party, and all of those parties are having an influence from the public, and all those parties, they can find expression of the people, and whichever one of them wins gets into power, and it saves the interest of the military and the Central Intelligence Organization, the whole security sector of Zimbabwe. If you have got that robust apparatus, General Chiwenga and other generals in the army and the people in the intelligence department, you will have no problem with foreign sponsored political parties, because it doesn't matter even if they get sponsorship from foreign countries. At the end of the day, they are under your radar. Do you understand? So if they are under your radar, the difference in the political parties will be maybe because maybe another party will be a pro-labor party, another one is a pro-business party, or a party that is more capitalist, other one is more socialist. So we are going to be having this back and forth discussion, because if you look at the economic realities and political realities of any country throughout history, you will discover that the pendulum swings from pro-capitalism in some years, and in other years it will swing towards pro-socialism, depending on the dynamics of the country at that particular time. So there is no real policy that is right all the time. Sometimes the policy must be pro-capitalist and less labor. Sometimes the policy must be more labor and less capitalist, depending on the needs of the nation. Therefore, the political parties that are holding these different constituencies, right? So the elections determine the needs of the people of the country, at that time. Therefore, the democratic expression of the people, therefore, serves as a way in which you gauge the temperature of the country. So if the country is needing or screaming a certain policy direction, it will be expressed by the support of that kind of party and the policies that the particular party is expressing. Therefore, it saves the guys that control the country, like the military, this democratic environment. Therefore, it serves as a way of determining how the country moves forward, because we do not have all the ideas as one person, but the ideas are coming from the general population. So in this way, we have got a free market politics whereby the needs of the people are expressed through the ballot box, which really helps you to be in the right track for economic development, sustenance, and having a robust nation, a strong country. And it helps in the security of your country as well. It helps, the security sector for example, it is helped because they do not have to fight wars with other countries like what is happening in Zimbabwe right now. The Zimbabwean military is fighting a whole lot of wars. Wars don't always have to be involving guns all the time, but we're talking about the fact that there's sanctions in Zimbabwe is in itself a war on the sovereignty of the country. The fact that you are claiming in the security sector that the opposition parties that are being supported by foreign aid that are seeking for regime change, those kind of wars happen because your own internal system is not robust enough. You understand? So if you had improved the robustness of the political landscape, whereby there isn't much of space for foreign interference. So even if the foreign interference come, they just come and give us money for our campaigns. Do you understand? Even if someone who is sponsored by the British or the Americans or the Chinese were to get into power, it doesn't matter because they are under the radar of the military and the CIOs anyway. So therefore, my assessment for the Zimbabwean political problem is that the answer does not lie in regime change particularly, but the answer lies in the change in the mindset of the security sector in Zimbabwe, whereby they have to allow multi-party democracy, or in any case, or in other ways, nurture that multi-party democracy. Look for political talent out there in the country and begin to look for diverging ideas within the nation of Zimbabwe. Are you listening to me, people in the CIO and people in the military? What you should be doing now to heal the nation is to look for diverging views, completely diverging views, even if they are extremely divergent from what you are saying, and begin to nurture them yourselves. Do not let the Americans nurture your own children in the country. You are the ones who are supposed to be sponsoring every single political idea. Why? So that as it grows and matures, it matures under your guidance and under your auspices. Therefore, even if that idea goes into office, you are at least comfortable that you know who they are, you know where they are coming from, and therefore you have got a level of control on the direction of which the political landscape is going to take. So I need for us in Zimbabwe to have a separation between the competition of politics between the political parties, and on top we separate that with the security sector, which is the military and the Central Intelligence Organization. Because remember, we do not vote for the police into power, we don't vote for the intelligence into power, we don't vote for the military into power. These are the custodians of the Zimbabwean nation. Therefore, the onus is therefore on them to create a robust system that cannot be penetrated by foreign interests, foreign invaders that come to destabilize our democracy. So what I have been explaining now, therefore, is a creation of a robust democratic system. Understand? This system does not only apply to Zimbabwe, but it can be replicated across the African nations as well, so that we can have a strong continent that is able to emulate this problem of foreign interference. Because the foreign interferers come in because they see that the military or the security state apparatus of a nation are very weak. Therefore, they can play with this lower level, this political level, and then they come and have their own people who destabilize the nation. Trust me, the Americans, the British, the Europeans, and everybody, they know how to manipulate our system. They know that when they sponsor opposition parties, those opposition parties will not easily get into power through a ballot box. They know that they are starting a deliberate war with the security sector of a country. So when they do that, they do it for the sake of destabilizing you as a nation, and they can drag it for many years while your country is not developing, meaning that the products or whatever it is, the minerals that come for your country, you are going to sell them for cents at the dollar, because you do not have time for self-development. But however, when we have got a robust system and your economy gets stronger, and as your economy grows, your goods and services from your country becomes more expensive, and therefore they're not able to extract the resources from Africa if Africa has got robust democracies. So this sponsoring of opposition parties and deliberately attacking the security sectors or the security forces of Africa is deliberately meant to weaken the society of Africa, therefore weakening the economies of Africa, therefore cheapening the resources, the minerals that are in Africa, as we do know that the strategic resources that are needed the world over are mainly found in Africa. So for the global economy to buy our products on cents on the dollar, therefore it is their strategic this strategic interference in our politics. It is meant to cheapen our gold, our diamonds, our platinum, and everything. Because if you are fighting a war, and you are mining diamonds to finance a war, you will sell them very cheap, because after all, they are going to get banned, because they are blood diamonds and stuff like that. Therefore, you sell them very cheap to the very investors who will buy from you cheap and sell expensive in the international market. Therefore, in that way, the international market is able to get our resources very, 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 very cheap. So you must understand that the sponsoring of opposition political parties, is not meant to put those opposition political parties in power, but it is meant to destabilize the countries. And therefore, the answer to that, therefore, General Chiwenga, the answer to that is for you to nurture your own opposition political parties. You understand? Do not put all your eggs in one political entity, but put your eggs in 2 or 3 or 4 political entities, even new ones that are rising from the ground, so that they are all captured by the state, so to speak, so that all the voices of the people in your country can find full expression. We do not want a situation whereby the people will say that if we go for voting, the army is going to shoot us because we're not going to vote for ZANU-PF. So if the people want to vote for an opposition, that opposition itself must belong to the army in the first place, such that the army wins if ZANU-PF wins, the army wins if MDC wins, the army wins if CCC wins, the army wins when I win, because I also have got my own political party. So this is the kind of mentality that we need to have in Zimbabwe. This is the true healing, therefore, says the Spirit of the Living God. This is the true healing that will help your country to grow robust. Now, I'm telling you a secret that the Father Almighty is telling me, so that you can be able to help destroy the enemies of Zimbabwe, which is actually the Western governments. So we are not sugarcoating things. The enemy of Zimbabwe is not only the Western governments, the developed nations. Therefore, they are preying on the smaller countries. This is what the Spirit of the Living God is showing me, that the developed countries, says the Spirit of the Living God, the developed countries are preying on the smaller countries to keep them in perpetual smallness, because that is how they extract the resources out of Africa. You must remember that what is at play here, the war here, is the war of extraction of the resources from Africa. So when we're talking about recolonization, you are still thinking of white people becoming presidents. No, that is not really the issue. The issue here is the extraction of your resources and buying your resources at the lowest cost possible. One way of doing that is to destabilize your political landscape. So as you are fighting the CCC and the MDC, thinking that they have got the regime change and putting white people in power or white interests, no, not really. Those white people know very well that their interests are not in having their men in the seat. No, even if they will put Chamisa in power, they will not want to stabilize Zimbabwe. They will go ahead and sponsor another opposition that will oppose those that are in power, so that there will be a constant bickering back and forth from the leaders that is supported by the army and the people that are not supported by the army, just to create confusion in the nation. So now, therefore, what we need is to have strategies that stop this bickering back and forth and this polarization of the people. So you need a national healing and the bringing of the people together. In that way, he says the Spirit of the Living God, the Americans and the Russians and whoever comes at your doorstep will not be able to destabilize you, and Zimbabwe will be set on a growth trajectory that will confuse confuse many around the world, the enemies. They will be confused and will surprise many other African peers. Your African peers will be surprised as they see you, Zimbabwe, grow, taking great leaps forward, says the Spirit of the living God. If you listen and obey the word of the Lord God Almighty that is being spoken through this young man Ngobani Zondo this morning, have a blessed day. My name is Ngobani Zondo, the potential future president of the Republic of Zimbabwe. Do not forget that sponsor me, as you as the military, you as the Central Intelligence Organization, you as the police, as the security sector of Zimbabwe. Sponsor me and sponsor other like-minded young people in Zimbabwe that are certain political parties, and let us go to the people and express our views, and let the people vote for whoever they like, and whoever wins, it is fine. All of us are under within that basket of Zimbabwe. This is the wisdom of God. This is the wisdom that God gave me to give to you in the military, and to you that are in political parties, and to you people that the general public of Zimbabwe. That is a way in which the Spirit of the living God says the country can move forward. Thank you very much.